now with the week's top medical news, including 2 studies on pregnancy that are making a lot of headlines. Dr. Darien Sutton is here to talk about both of those. And I have 3 children, and I remember eating a lot of Pop-Tarts when I was pregnant. That was my #1 pregnancy craving. But this new study is really interesting because it finds a link between eating a healthy diet, prenatal diet, and a lower risk of autism. So this is a big deal.
Incredibly big deal, incredibly important news. When we look at studies like this, it's clear that it's an association, but we don't yet know a cause and effect. So this study looked at mothers who stuck to a strict healthy diet. We're talking about whole grains, fish, vegetables, and low in red meat and low in processed foods. And they found that those mothers who stuck to that strict healthy diet had a 22% reduced likelihood of having a child diagnosed with autism and a 24% reduced risk of having a child diagnosed with communication difficulty. Now, although, again, we see studies like this is an association. It does not define cause and effect. This diagnosis is very complicated, but it does belabor the point that having a diet low in processed foods will always benefit us.
Important information. And something else that has a lot of parents concerned is the impact of COVID during pregnancy. What more are we learning about that?
Another common question, do COVID infections cause an increase of risk of something called birth defects? And so they looked at more than 300,000 moms, some of whom had gotten vaccinated in their first trimester and some of whom had gotten naturally infected. And they found that there was no association with an increased risk of birth defects. Now, this is still important to continue to monitor, but it is an important reminder that COVID infections alone increase the mother's risk of pregnancy loss and pregnancy failure. So this is a time, especially during this new COVID surge, to mask up and make sure you're being cautious.
Let's talk about COVID real quick, because I don't know about you, but I just keep hearing about people who are getting COVID now. The president has COVID. What's the latest on this uptick here?
Well, we're currently in a surge. In the emergency room, I'm seeing more patients coming in with cough, fever, runny nose. And so it's just naturally a surge. Now, are we as bad as what we were before during Delta or the winter? Absolutely not. But this is a time where we have to make sure we carry our masks during high-risk periods, and especially if you're high risk, making sure you're updated on your vaccine. And then in the fall, there will likely be a new vaccine associated to the circulating variants, and that what I would recommend for everyone else.
Okay, Dr. Darien Sutton, thank you.